Is this where you kind of grow up and you feel like a parent and you have to just say, I know exactly what you're doing. I know you're doing this to push buttons. I know you're doing this like a child throwing a temper tantrum saying, I hate you, because you're being made to clean your room or, not eat a cookie before dinner.
You put that ice cream back right now. I mean it.
And they're trying to provoke a response, and I'm just so disappointed
I am not gonna say it again.
that they can't do any better. Hello, everyone. I am Mecha Random 42, the one, the only, the original, your favorite YouTube consumer advocate. Harpy. They named me Harpy, by the way. The Star Trek people, the Star Trek Discovery people. The people who got mad when I started calling out the lies of the producers who would tell you, oh, there's not going to be Spock in season 2 of Discovery, and there he shows up.
I like science.
Oh, we're not going to rely on the old characters, and then they're all there. Oh, it's going to be bright and optimistic and hopeful, and then they proceed to expose Michael Burnham's character to radiation, killing her how many times over just to... Oh no, they put her out as a prop for the Red Angel. The Red Angel. The Mecha Harpy. Yeah. They lie, and they get mad when you expose their lies. They provoke. They taunt. This is exactly what Star Trek is now. It's a Twitter argument. It's a Twitter argument. It's a bunch of children yelling and screaming.
I hate you! I hate you!
And telling their parents they hate them just to provoke a response. And you know what? We can play the response game. I don't even want to dignify this article with a read, because here's the thing with Star Trek. Star Trek is not communistic. And I can tell you this fairly confidently, being a lifelong Star Trek fan. Because for communism to be a thing that exists, you have to have some sort of money, some sort of still a need to provide services, to create some sort of revenue, to create some sort of currency. Modern day problems, much like our modern day problems that I am so tired of hearing about in Star Trek, and we'll get to that in a minute. And here's the thing. Star Trek took place in a time period where people had put all their little petty differences aside because they no longer had the desire to possess a bunch of stuff. They didn't need a bunch of things. This is why you'd see crew members with like 5 or 6 prized possessions. Like, here's this prized, riding crop that I use for emphasis, for example, for my character, or, a batleth or a weird chair if you're Worf, or, you'd have a few things that were yours because, they're decorative, they're functional, they're sentimental, right?
People are no longer obsessed with the accumulation of things.
For something like food, you can just get it from the replicator.
Tea, Earl Grey, hot.
Energy is created and generated to a point where you don't need to pay money and pay gold. We are not, in the Star Trek universe anyway, we're not reliant on fossil fuels. We're not reliant on pushing pieces of currency around. You're not strapped to doing a job you don't want just so you can put a roof over your head. Everybody has their basic needs met because there is no longer a reason to have a currency system.
Money doesn't exist in the 24th century.
Because you've kind of evolved past that. All right, you can still barter and trade for things. You still have, Picard will have his special old book, for example, and it might not be replicated, and it might be something that somebody spent a great deal of time and effort to gather. but they would trade some other artifact for it, or something, right? And people would have services, and they would have professions. They would have professions and specialties, and people would, let's say they want to be a barber. You had Bolian barbers on Star Trek The Next Generation, because he was the best, most passionate, most qualified person at grooming alien species on the outside, at least their hair follicles. I want to say, I would imagine he's the most qualified person, because he's a Bolian. He doesn't have hair, but he still was able to do this job, right? Which is kind of fascinating. Why is a bald blue Bolian able to be like the best barber? I don't know, because we're in a society where you can create and find and explore your passions. What if you have somebody like Bobby Crapping Flay, who's the best Southwest chef on the planet, even though he looks like Howdy Doody, and he's a white Irish guy from Boston? Why can't you be that? That's appreciation. That's not appropriation. And people weren't so upset. People didn't let people hold power over them over little minute things like a fence. Why should I be offended if you say something that might not be appropriate? What power does that have over me? Star Trek, we evolved past that. You could pursue your dreams as an artist, an archaeologist. You could serve on a starship and go anywhere and explore if that was your desire. If you were super inclined with engineering and electronics, you would build things. You would build starships. You would build things because that was your passion.
We work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity.
And people had hobbies and people had other things. Because people are more complex than just... But no, you wouldn't need communism. Communism doesn't even work on paper anymore, right? Because communism was explained to me when I was a kid. That, what if this chick is in her bathtub over here eating bonbons and getting an income for it? Meanwhile, this guy over here has to build bathtubs for a living. And it's backbreaking labor and it's excruciating. Why is that fair? Oh, it's not. Therefore, communism is for babies. Babies who are just trying to provoke a reaction out of us to yell about why... You should know better by now. You should know better. I mean, come on, nobody told you to get that gender studies degree. You could have pursued something where you knew you had a career path leaving college. You could have looked into something with job placement. You could have looked into something like accounting or anything. But no, you had to choose. So now, therefore, you're throwing a temper tantrum and you want your college paid off. Meanwhile, cancer patient over there doesn't get their medical bills paid off, but you're entitled because you went to school and you feel good about yourself because you're on the internet telling everybody how bad they are. See, this is the problem. Money exists right now. Money does exist. It doesn't grow on trees. When you print more of it, you need more of it to buy something, right? This $12 writing crop will be $20 soon. It will cost more. And my salary isn't going up, and your salary isn't going up. So when I see something like this, I see this as a child doing and escalating. They're escalating now. Because they didn't get punished enough when they were younger. They all got trophies and awards and medals. Nobody was allowed to fail. Nobody had to do anything over. Nobody got criticized because that was harassment. That would hurt their feelings. And these people keep escalating and escalating to where they're now saying this. In about 5 years, they'll tell you the Yahtzees had a good idea. That's what they'll tell you, and they'll believe it too. They'll believe it to spite you. And you know they're going to do it. And when I say they're going to say the Yahtzees had a good idea, they're already displaying the same characteristics and the same fascistic behaviors. So they're already making steps towards that. And it gets really, really frustrating to see this. This is exactly what happens when your child first he says he hates you, and then he can get away with it because he doesn't have consequences. And then he starts to smack you and kick you, and then it doesn't hurt because he's 5 years old. But then they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then they're starting to do serious damage. And then what happens? And then it goes into this and it escalates because they weren't disciplined when they were younger. They weren't punished for anything. They were never held accountable, but yet they're so adamant on holding others accountable. Yeah. So these are the same people who want to defund the police, are the same ones who want to go around policing everything, because that's where we're at. That's what they do. They're doing it. So no, this is just for attention, and I'm so tired of seeing them going around quoting Karl Marx. Didn't he say, like, wasn't he the one who said, yeah, pretty much everything I said when I was young was stupid because I was a dumbass when I was in my 20s and I was stupid. We're all dumb when we're young. That's why you gain wisdom as you gain age, as you advance in years. And when I see this, this just screams at children. This just screams at childish. I don't even want to hear what your argument is. I don't think I want to justify, because that's what you're doing. You're poking for a response, aren't you? You're just poking and prodding and trying to get my attention by saying, does this bother you? This doesn't bother you. Does this bother you? Does this bother you? Does this bother you? Does this bother you? And that's what they're doing. They're 1 inch away from your face. Taunting. And the next thing is going to be, well, probably a repeat of Seattle and Portland all year. Just stop. Grow up. I'm disappointed. And I'm disgusted that this is you people don't deserve a Star Trek future. You get what you deserve. You reap what you sow. I am so tired of this. I'm not even reading this article. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!
But we all knew from day one this mumbo-jumbo wouldn't fly.